Got Aaron. I'm warmed up now. This is the Kirin by Shellington Blasters. It is a design of collaboration between Heathtail or MHP Arms and Harrison or GDoc at Shellington Labs or Shellington Blasters. Harrison has made the Scream Thunder, and since then has made a lot of other shell ejection blasters, and ever since the start of time that I can remember, Heath at MHP Arms has done shell ejection blasters. He designed this one in a 3D printed model called the Renfield, and since then has designed and redesigned the entire thing to be compatible with injection molding. And then Shellington Labs went through and got it manufactured overseas. And this is a review of that blaster. This is the injection molded version of the Renfield called the Kirin. It is a shell ejecting bolt action mag fed blaster. It is extremely high performance, and overall I really like this blaster. We do sell these, full disclosure. However, I'm going to try to do as unbiased review as I can, talking about the pros and then all the cons that I find with it. I've used this in several events already. I've done some mods on it already, and I've experimented with and broken other parts on it already. So I'd say that I've got a pretty good feel for it. So without further ado, we'll start with the features. It comes disassembled, and you have to put it together in a 2-box format, but it's really easy with just a couple of pins. It takes down super fast, which is really nice. The pins have 3 pins, so 2 on the mag well and then 1 up top. You can just pull those out, and then the whole blaster can take apart. That's where you can switch out your spring, do some maintenance, all those kinds of things. It has a barrel that it comes with, the default length barrel, 30 centimeters or 300 millimeters is the default barrel length. You can also get upgrade barrels as well that are longer to increase your performance, but the default barrel works very well. Even without a scar or moles of ice, it's very accurate and can hit pretty hard. It comes with this orange barrel shroud that you can take on and off pretty easily by just unscrewing these 2 Phillips screws in the bottom that you can then take off the shroud, so that way you can put your own scar on it. Blaster itself is pretty solid. It's pretty rigid. It is a kind of a chunky feel, so a solid kind of designated sniper platform, and that's what I use it as. The mag release has a lever that then pushes a button that then takes the mag in and out. The stock is not adjustable, but it has this nice kind of rubberized pad to it, so it still feels very comfortable, even though it is a little more square and not adjustable. You can see the stock to grip length is about right for my size. I'm about 5'9", 5'10". The blaster actually is also easily quick swapped to be ambidextrous. So if you want a left hand or a right hand bolt, you can swap that by just rotating the arm to the other side. It's really great. The eject for the shell ejection is a little bit more complicated to switch out because you have to take apart the bolt. But again, that's just 2 screws and a pin, and you can take it apart in just a couple of minutes. And we have a build guide for that as well, and a maintenance video for the Kirin overall. The Kirin comes with the base blaster, partially disassembled. It also comes with 2 7-round magazines, and it comes with 20 of the injection molded high quality shells, and that's enough to fill about 2.5 magazines, so that's really good. The also really cool feature is it comes with 3 main power springs, so you can swap your power. The highest spring, it hits you in the 270s range easily. But the lowest spring, you're still hitting like 150, 160, and you can use calibered size springs as well. So it fits all of the springs that would be a standard size spring, like a K25 or K26 or K31 for that lower power as well. So you can easily get between 90 and 300 FPS. I put in a K25 longer barrel, and I was hitting 300 no problem. So really easy to get high performance and dial it in. I really like this platform because of that performance range, and the shell ejecting, it is fun. It's a lot of fun. You do have to have a lot of shells, but if you're not worried about picking them up or use a shell catcher, it's a great platform. And you can get a Talon adapter as well, so you could run it as a mag-fed blaster instead of a shell ejecting blaster. But overall, the Kirin is a great blaster. The only thing I don't like about it is it doesn't have rail here. And so if you put a taffet on it, it just feels like it's missing a little bit of rail, but that's not a big deal. The original key, the pins have these key rings on them, which just kind of dangle around and make noise, and then they can get caught on something and get pulled out by accident. So I like to replace those with a different kind of pin top, with a different pin or a 3D printed cotter pin to go inside. The compression distance that you have on the prime to the catch is a little bit different than a caliburn. So if you use, say, a Pro 26, you'd have to cut off a couple of coils for it to actually catch properly. And at high spring loads, it is a little difficult because being bolt action and being shell ejecting, it takes a little bit to get used to used to that force. For bolt action, like a longer stock, so I get more leverage on it. Here you've got like a smaller stock, so at high FPS, it can be a little bit less ergonomic. As a note, I actually shattered the original plunger head, shattered in two halves. That was running at 300 FPS for extended period of time with who knows how many dry fires. So at high power, you may want to consider replacing some of the high wear parts. And we'll have those upgrades on our site as well. So running 300 FPS for extended period of time proved to be a little fatal. Picking up the shells, I did notice if you're playing on a mud hill and it's really messy, if you get too much dirt caked on your shells, it can jam the mags or make the feeding more difficult. And plus you have to pick up the shells, which is not bad in most fields unless you're playing in the jungle or on a mud hill. Then you should be fine with the shell ejection feature. Otherwise, that is a little bit of a pain point having to collect those shells. If you have a 3D printer though, you can print as many shells as you want, and it is compatible with 3D printed fly point shells as well as the 3D printed magazines, which is really cool. So overall, the Kirin is a great blaster. It feels really nice, and the shell ejecting is just a ton of fun. It's really accurate blaster. With the default barrel, it is a clear anodized aluminum barrel that has a great air seal out of the box, and so the accuracy is on point without any V-car or SCAR barrel. 50 feet hit a man-sized target 100% of the time, and even at further distances is extremely accurate. And so I'm really happy with it being a performance bolt action blaster, a performance shell ejecting blaster. Normally I don't really go for the gimmicky stuff like shell ejecting. You may know, at the shop we have the Spring Thunder, but we've had that for years and we haven't done any other shell ejecting, mostly because it lacks performance and it trades that for the gimmick of shell ejecting. But this one is a performance shell ejection blaster, so I am happy to carry these, and I am really looking forward to using these in a lot more events as well, just for the fun of the shell ejecting and also the high performance with the shell ejecting. You got plenty of rail on top for all of your sights that you may want to use. You also have M-LOK compatible slots. These are M-LOK spec, so you can use any M-LOK attachments like the M79 handguard as well. You've got flashlights or Picatinny or sling points they can put on this super easy. And this one's a little bit more difficult to try to get that shell in the breech. You're gonna have to slide it in there at an angle and hold it in. Not too bad as you practice at it, but it's definitely a little bit slower than throwing in a normal top loader. But you've got 7 plus 1 in the magazine, so that's 8 shots that you have total capacity with the default setup. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that is so fun. Magazine comes out really nice. So and the last bolt, grab out this feature. This is a pretty cool feature. So the mag comes right out, super nice and easy. Another feature here is last round lockout, so you can't dry fire it. So if you're out of rounds, then you can switch your magazine super quick and easy. Another feature here is it does not have a safety. That could be a problem for some people. However, it does have a bolt lock where you pull it back all the way, then you pull it down and it locks it bolt out. So even if I pull the trigger, it won't fire on me. So that way you don't have to worry about misfires or accidentally shooting someone or getting your finger pinched in there. And so even though it doesn't have a safety, it does have that kind of lock feature, which acts as a safety. And that way when you're ready to fire, then you can rack it forward and you're good to go. So it has the bolt lock, both the back and the forward position, which is super easy. And the magazine comes out, nice little gravity drop, so that's convenient. And overall, it's not used to bolt action or definitely shell ejecting. There is a little bit of getting used to for how you can have one in the chamber and your magazine is kind of independent of that. And so if I have one in the chamber and if I have one in the chamber and my magazine is empty, you can't open the bolt and take out the mag, which you can normally do with a blaster. So you have to remember to keep one in the chamber, otherwise you'll eject it by accident. So accidentally ejecting a good round is something that I guess you do and have to worry about in real steel and shell ejecting here because you don't want to waste that ammo, which normally you don't have with a normal mag-fed Talus. blaster. Other than that, I love it. I love running it left hand like this. That way it's really quick to prime and back to position. Right? So rather than running my offhand, I can keep my trigger hand right here. If you're ready to prime, you can take a shot, follow up, and keep my left hand steady to help that maneuverability, which I find is a really good sniper platform. Usually a pump action, depending on how long it is, you just get a little less stability being out here. I mean, it's not a real firearm and doesn't weigh that much. You know how the recoil will manage, and so you typically get best stability right here in your A zone. And so as you hold that up against your body, keeping that nice and rigid, it's a lot easier to do with this kind of setup than maybe a pump action setup. And then the follow-up shots are nice and quick, depending on, you know, how you like to run your setup. I found bolt action happens to be pretty dang competitive. Maybe it's slower than pump action, but as far as that general play, you know, my hand is the same place as everything I need to work with or manipulate with the weapon system. So instead of having to go like this and then reload coming back, it's almost faster to do it this way. Let me know what you think. Here's the Kirin by Shellington Blasters.